Joining me via Zoom, good friend. It's been a while. Coach Rick Barnes, Tennessee. Coach, how you doing?
I'm great, Aaron. How about you? How you been?
So I'm good. First of all, we're just chatting off air. Rumor has it, not only all across your staff, but Coach, you had a birthday this weekend. So one, happy birthday, and two, I thought of this. Okay, I don't want to age you here, but couple guys that you've been rivals with for a long time, including a guy you used to coach against in the ACC, decided to step away this summer. You're not leaving us, Coach, are you? We got at least a couple years left, right?
No, you know what I did, Aaron? When I turned 50, I decided I was going to start over. So I'm 17. I'm 17. I feel 17, and I'm ready to go.
There you go. Good. So we're just getting started. That's perfect because we can't be losing you too, Coach. So honestly, that's actually a perfect place to start with everything I want to talk to you about. It's been kind of a crazy summer in college athletics as a whole. And, a lot of adjustment for guys like yourself that have been in this business for a while. I know you've dealt with all sorts of different rules changes and things of that nature over the course of the time that you've been in college athletics. Was this summer no different from the perspective of whatever the rules are, we have to adjust and kind of build our program accordingly?
Yeah, I think that you've got to do what you are comfortable with. When you go back to the transfer portal, we were able to get one good player out of it that we're really excited about. But we've decided we're going to try to do it the way we've always done it. And we know that things are changing. We know that there's a lot going on within college athletics, but we feel like what we've done has been good. And we look at what we do every year and see how we can do it better. And but in terms of knowing what we're looking for from a recruiting standpoint, what we want in our program, we're not going to change any of that.
So obviously something you and I have talked about for years is, you look for character and, the right fit for your programs, but what is that balancing act of doing it in the portal versus doing it in high school? Are you only looking to maybe bring in, say, a difference maker, a plug and play guy in the portal? Is every case by case basis? Do you think as we move on here, you'll try to stay older through the portal? I mean, how have you guys evaluated, especially with the portal specifically, how you're going to use it or how you want to use it? I know that the type of player doesn't change, the character doesn't change, but just the roster building itself, how have you guys decided to do it?
Well, Aaron, again, I think that what the portal will do is, again, we already right now, we know who we would like to recruit and sign in this class coming out of high school right now. But we also know we're going to make sure that we save some scholarships because we do know at the end of the year that we could lose guys to the portal. We could lose guys to the NBA. And it's almost like I've told our coaches, we almost have to treat everybody like everybody's one and done. If they're good enough to play and get to the league, they're going to do it. If they haven't played as much as they want to play, that gives them a chance to leave right away and go somewhere where they maybe can do that. So with that said, I think the days of having 13 guys on scholarship it's going to be really tough because they all want to play. And if they don't play, they're going to look to leave. And so with that in mind, I don't have a problem taking some guys that we would label as a project for those last couple of scholarships and hope that you can develop them and they can come along. And when you need to fill a spot, they're there waiting to do that. But will we use the portal? We have. So yeah, we will. But we're still going to try to do what we do through the high school ranks.
Is that, with the high school kids or even a portal guy that would be a developmental player, is that just a transparent conversation from the beginning? Because, obviously everybody understands that, nothing's going to be guaranteed once you get to campus, but it's another thing when you're told in recruiting, but then you show up and there are older players, veteran players behind you, and you might not see as much playing time.
Well, you just said it, that the word is transparency. And I think that we've always tried to be we have. I mean, I really would tell you that we are brutally honest when it comes to recruiting. And I think we are where we are in the recruiting process with the transfers being so high because of what you said. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. And, I think that sometimes that people say things, what they have to say to get a person to commit. And that's where the problem comes in. And knowing what you just said, there are guys in our program that have worked really hard and they're waiting their turns there. And we know, so I think it's so important to be brutally honest up front and really kind of promise less and deliver more. And because if they're willing to work and buy into it, they'll play. And because we're not going to recruit anybody that we don't think can play and fit in our program, and we're not going to do that. We feel like if once we offer a scholarship, and we don't offer a mass bundle of scholarships, when we make that commitment, we really have done our work in terms of understanding the character. Hopefully we understand the work ethic that they have in place and their competitive fire. But I just think now that with where we are in college basketball, every year you've got to be ready. And yeah, you'd like to think you can build a team that's going to be around, be with you, stay old, as you mentioned. But the fact of the matter is we do know that we're into some roster management every year that we're going to have to deal with.
Very good. How about NIL? My understanding is that you guys have to basically be hands off, and you can't say this is a good opportunity, this is a bad opportunity. But I imagine you're advising players on who to trust, what are you guys allowed to do, and how have you just navigated this? And I know it was frustrating for a lot of people, but it gets dropped on your doorstep, July 1, and I don't know what the exact laws were in Tennessee if that was going to be the case anyway. But how have you navigated it? We're 3-4 weeks in, and I think everybody's kind of still trying to figure out that one as well.
Well, I totally trust our administration. They're on top of it. They're going to make sure that we're not left behind in any area. We've got a very aggressive, progressive administration here with Danny White and his team, and what Tom Sakoviak does with the media here. And I totally trust them. I do, and I know more importantly, our players trust them. And what we're going to do, we're going to make sure we protect them. We want them to be able to take advantage of every opportunity out there that's done, the right way. But we want to protect them and make sure they're not going to do anything to harm themselves or their value somewhere down the road. But it goes back again, our administration's put a lot of things in place already. They're on top of it every day. And where we are with it, I don't know if any of us truly know where it's all going to play out. But other than, again, the administration doing everything they can to make sure our athletes know they're not going to be left behind in any way, shape, or form.
One other final big difference in college athletics right now, you can work with your players. How nice, we spoke, I think, September, October of last year, and it was finally to the point where you could get them on the court 5-on-5. But, you mentioned Tom Sakoviak, your SID. I was just talking to him about this time last year, the players were in the gym with one manager at a time, and that was all you could do. And, one, it's a testament to how far we've come, but two, how nice is it just, even if it's just a few hours a week by NCAA rule, to be able to work with them, to be able to coach them, to be able to get to know them better, and vice versa, them get to know you and your staff as well.
Aaron, this is one of my favorite times of the year because of what you just said. And we missed all that a year ago. We didn't have a chance to do any of it. And I hate it for Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. I hate it for those guys because we just didn't get to do it. And to be quite frank, to me, this is what makes our jobs fun, that we get to spend time with these guys in the gym, and a lot of individual work, but then a lot of teamwork as well. But just being able to be around them, whether it's after we get through working out, to be in the locker room, having a good time, or just hanging out together. We didn't have any of that. So it does feel like we're back to normal, and it's a good feeling. It really is. And it makes you really realize how much you missed what we didn't get to do a year ago. And so it's been fun this summer. We're down to where I think we're down to our last 2 weeks now. And, but we've had a good summer, and I think our players have enjoyed it.
What have you seen so far? What have you seen? I mean, a bunch of new guys. You mentioned a high-level transfer, Justin Powell. What have you seen? What do you like? What needs some work between now? We still got 3-4 months before the start of the season, but what have you seen so far?
What we had, we've had again this time of year. You make sure if you got some guys that are nursing some injuries, that they're gonna get those right. That's most important. And then we've had guys that have played with Kennedy Chandler play with our under-19 team. Olivier Kamwa played with his national team. Santiago was with his national team, and so we've had guys that we haven't had everybody here together all summer, which I think has been good too, because it's allowed us to really put a lot of attention into other guys that we know that are going to have to play big roles for us. but we are excited, and we really probably won't get everybody totally back together until we get back in the fall, which is fine because, older guys, Josiah James, John Fulkerson, guys that have been around, they can now take any kind of workload that you want to give them, but they don't need it, but they can take all you want to give them. Whereas the younger guys, they need everything you can give them, but they really can't take it. But with that said, we've been able to go slowly with those guys, the ones that, and we've had some new guys in here, and it's been neat watching their improvement. That's been the best part. I don't think there's one guy on our team right now that hasn't gotten better this summer and hasn't worked hard at trying to improve what he needs to do to get better as an individual.
Going back to last season for a second ago, you look across college basketball. Kentucky really struggled, and Coach Cal's talked about it. I'm not speaking out of school here. Michigan State, Duke, Kansas struggled at times. How much was it for you guys? You still have a successful season. You go to the NCAA tournament, 5 seed, all that stuff. But did you ever feel like I totally knew my team totally knew me? Because I just look back to last year and thinking about what you just said about just the starting process getting pushed so far back that, I mean, what obviously you're hopefully never going to have to do it again in your career. No one in your business will. But do you think that played a role in any school having trouble, difficulty? Because it just felt like outside of those top 2 teams, top 3 teams last year, everybody was just all season long trying to figure things out and trying to figure out what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, I think we all struggled. I do. I think older teams probably were able to bounce back a little bit quicker, but do I think that we ever really got to know our team? I don't, because not only did we have young guys that we were counting on that, again, didn't have the full summer to get ready for what we were expecting them to do. Then we had, John Fulkerson got hit hard and didn't have the kind of year that he would, that we were anticipating from him. Nothing that he could do about it. I mean, it's just part of the game. And then that threw a lot more on Eve Pons. But I thought Eve just did yeoman work for us the whole time. But no, it was a tough year. And I think at the end of last year, I think everybody was sort of kind of just relieved that we got through the year. And I think if you ask a lot of people, the majority of people would tell you that if we had to do it again exactly the same way, I'm not sure we'd want to do it because it was it was just really hard because all the things that you had done throughout, or I had done throughout our career here in places I've been, we were hands-on, we were around people, we were able to have fun. There was not very much fun in it because,
Yes.
when practice was over with, we had to keep our distance. Guys pick up their food, go back to the dorm, from the dorm back here. And even when we had meetings, we had to take an entire ballroom and we're spread out 6, 12, 15 feet apart. There was no intimacy to it. And it was just so different. And then you go into stadiums and you play. I mean, fans are important. And, that's part of why we do what we do. And, and you do love it, but you just didn't, it was just different. And, wasn't fun. And I don't think many people, you say you win games. It's almost like when you won a game and like we had a big win against Kansas and it was nice, but it was like, we really didn't, our fans didn't get to be a part of it. And it's like, as soon as that game was over with, it wasn't like you're walking around town and players were walking on campus and people were patting them on the backs and that's a great game. They weren't seeing anybody. So the only people that you were conversing with were your own inner circle here, which was really about 25, 30 people. But with that said, that's why what we started with this summer has been so great. And I just hope that we can keep going down this path because it feels like we're back to normal in terms of what we do.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I've talked to people throughout this summer that, Gonzaga, Baylor, you name it. I don't even think they had quote unquote fun in the traditional sense. And it was everybody. So real quick, before we get you out of here, just a couple guys, you mentioned Kennedy Chandler. There's obviously a lot of excitement about him, 5-star recruit, #1 point guard in some services in America. I know you don't want to put too much on his shoulders too early, but as you said, he was with the U19 team. I don't know how much you've had him on campus, but what have you seen? Are you excited? I mean, I know you're excited to coach him, but what should fans expect, hopefully, as we get closer to the season?
Well, obviously, I think our fans are excited and expect a lot to see because of, the hype that goes with being as you said, some people say the #1 point guard in the country. What I've seen from him in the time that we've had him here, and we've known him so well because we've recruited him for so long. one, I'd say the first thing is how much his teammates enjoy playing with him. The second thing is knowing him and how much he wants to improve as a basketball player. He loves to play the game. He does a lot of things instinctively well, but he knows that he needs to get better in areas, and he's willing to do that. He wants to be coached, but his teammates really enjoy him. He's got not only on the court, but off the court. He's got that kind of persona that I think that spills over to people where he's going to instill some confidence. And I think he's going to make the game easier for some guys. He's going to get some guys some shots at some easy baskets that we didn't get a year ago, which is what really good point guards do for their teams. But we're excited, and I'm excited for John Fulkerson that he came back, because none of us wanted to see him in his career the way it ended last year, and the fact that he's back, we're excited for him, and Josiah James and the guys that have been with us for a long time, so as a group right now, we really like this group of guys. I think they like each other, which is important, and now it's about being the best team that we can be.
Well, and that was going to be basically my final question was John Fulkerson. I mean, been around forever. I think he was part of your first recruiting class when you first got there. I could be mistaken on that. And like you said, it didn't end, statistically the way that he wanted, wins, losses. And then, of course, unfortunately, what happened at the SEC tournament. But I saw him at the baseball games during the summer or during the spring, and it seemed like he is enjoying one last go around in Knoxville. I know we talked last year, and you said him and Yves Pons weren't necessarily they were the lead by example more than they were the emotional kind of leaders. But just how nice is it to have that guy in your locker room for one more season?
It's great. I mean, Tennessee Volunteers, they love John Fulkerson. They do. They love him, being an East Tennessee guy and growing up here and growing up wanting to wear the orange. And so, it's good. And he, he and Josiah both have gotten much more vocal. They realize that they're in a role right now that they need to be that. And so even though they haven't done a lot of reps in practice with our team, they're on the side coaching these guys, being much more vocal, and which I think is good for John. I think, and obviously, Josiah is great with it. But we really are excited for John, because I think he's going to have the kind of year that we were expecting him to have a year ago, which obviously we need that from him, and he's looking forward to embracing it.
Very good. I know you got a big lunch appointment. Anything else that we missed? Anything else that you're excited about? I mean, I know just from talking to you throughout the last year how nice it must be to have your guys back. Your like you said, interact with them, hang out with them, let them hang out in the locker room, things like that.
Yeah. Well, this new name, image, and likeness, maybe you and I can work something out from a coach's standpoint that I can just be exclusive to you.
Let's do it. You know what? Yeah. Listen. All right. Listen, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can compete with Danny White's dollars and cents there, but listen, if this is what you want to do, you just let me know. We'll get I don't want to start naming sponsors, but we could get a sponsor. I don't want to offend anybody that may already be a sponsor, but you just let me know. I'm hanging out, man. I'm watching all your games anyway. So,
hey, you know what? I threw that out there, Ken, but you got me spinning right now. Maybe I need to get into this.
Well, listen, like I said, my budget might not be quite what UT's budget is, but have your people call my people, and we'll see if we can make something happen before the start of the season. How's that sound?
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you having me. Love you.
All right, thank you. That's Rick Barnes, head coach, Tennessee.